All right, what's up, people? Misty will be there shortly. You see Andy. There you go. We're rocking and rolling.
What's our sound? Oh, yeah.
We're gonna let Tequila continue to take her clothes off and make your clothes fall off.
Hey, good morning, Missy.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Right on time. There was a cop. I was like speeding like crazy in the parking lot, and I was like, "Arr!" But he let me
I'm
go.
sure she won't. I'm sure all you had to say, do you know who I am?
Yeah, I'll be like, come in and we'll interview you.
Good morning and welcome to the Hodge Pack. Sports life and everything in between right here on 106.9, the Country Giant. Rocking and rolling the last show of 2023. 2024 is knocking on the door. Hey, that rhymed.
Here you go again,
Already, yeah.
Flow Master.
You do one jingle, and next thing you know, you just go to town. We're glad that you're with us this morning. We are brought to you by Lida Lane and Cattle. Our guests appear on our Pest Patrol phone line, and we are rocking and rolling downtown, no more, but in the Mall of Abilene, where you can come and do your shopping. We are in the Potosi Live studio. Missy and Hodge are here. Josh is in the deer blind saying he's going to get the monster. He said he missed the monster yesterday, and so he took a vacation day from the Hodge Pack.
He did. And he better get the monster since he's ditching us today.
That is true. And joining us, a familiar voice when you hear both of us start talking, for those Wally Bulldog fans you'll know, or AC Wildcats. I'm not on the AC Wildcat with him, not yet anyway. But joining us this morning, man, the myth, the legend, Andy Penny. Andy, we're glad you're here this morning.
Yeah, I'm going to put in a good word with you for you over there at AC. I'll start working on that. But hi, Misty, glad to be with you. Feeling fat and happy after Christmas. Happy holidays to you guys.
Oh, it's good to be here, and it's just a lot. I mean, there's so much to talk about. We joke, we've said it over and over. There's seasons where 3 hours would be not enough either, and definitely not 2 hours as we're jam packed. As we look back at 2023, the year for us as Hodge Pack, folks have I put out on Facebook, teams of the year, plays of the year. I know what Josh's answers because it would be easy. It would be all Texas Rangers. Player of the year, Josh Seeger, maybe even Garcia in the fight, but ultimately him and the Rangers, not him, but the Rangers winning the World Series. I know that's his teams of the year, probably for the next 20 years unless they win another one. But we're going to look back at that. NFL's happening. Cowboys had a rough outing last week. Still can't find a way to win on the road. They get back to the confines of AT&T Stadium this week with a tough opponent. And I'm glad the Lions still have something to play for because, Misty, I'd be nervous if the Lions had wrapped up number one seed and they were just going to hang out and play backups. I'm glad the Lions still have the number one seed and some things to play for.
Yeah, that outing, Cowboys, I know we'll dive into all of that a little bit later on. But yeah, no, I mean, this season, and we say it I feel like we say it every year, but this season, it is really any given Sunday. I'm still just like, what is happening? Like, it's just still wide open, in my opinion. I still don't know when the Super Bowl. It's just crazy to me. But yes, go Lions.
Well, and they say some of the favorite weeks of the year is what's coming up, divisional rounds, and really this weekend's one of them because you've got still NFL football on the weekend. You got great New Year's 6 games starting to happen. Of course, the CFP starts on Monday, and then you roll into the NFL playoffs. A lot of people think this is one of the best times of the year. One of my favorite is March Madness because it rolls into March Madness, then it rolls into the Masters. I feel like this year's NFL season, and we're going to talk about it, we're going to add a new segment in the 8 o'clock hour. I feel like this is a March Madness type. Anybody can win the Super Bowl. I mean,
Oh, I agree with when you look at how many backup quarterbacks are having to play these days, and then nobody really wants to take the division. When you look at Philly and lost 3 in a row, and then San Fran doesn't look very good on Monday versus the Ravens. Of course, Dallas coming off their loss. It's anybody. You know, Patrick Mahomes could get hot at the right time. Who knows what could happen in the month of January? It's going to be fun.
well, and you think about it, you mentioned Philadelphia losing 3 in a row, and I think the only reason they didn't lose 4 in a row is, fortunately for them, the Giants were on the schedule.
Yes.
I think if they were playing somebody different, and maybe if Tyrod Taylor starts that instead of DeVito, which I understand why DeVito started. He won 3-1. You keep him in the game. And of course, it cost me lunch yesterday. But
thank you for that.
But I really think the only reason that they're not on a 4-game winning streak is the fortune of the schedule. And they get another benefit of that this week is that Arizona comes to them instead of Philly having to go to Arizona. And so things don't look good for a schedule standpoint for the Cowboys, but still very open to win the division. Need some help from some NFC folks. And of course, they need to take care of business this week. But we'll talk more about that. I want to dive into our Lawrence Hall headline report. I want to start off with this. We don't talk a whole lot of NBA, but last night the Detroit Pistons, there's literally become a segment on the new ESPN show, Evan Canty and Michelle on ESPN. It's called Unsportsmanlike. And there's one of the producers that are behind the scenes that's a big Detroit Pistons fan. And they've got a segment now, the Detroit Second. They have lost 28 in a row last night. They were up 21 points last night to the Celtics, and they ended up losing in overtime to tie the longest streak, which the 76ers had. But that was when it was from 14 to 15 into the 15-16 season of 28 straight losses. Saturday, they play the Raptors to either break the streak or set history. And I just can't imagine, I mean, NBA players, professionals, every night. Kate Cunningham, one of the top picks that came out of Oklahoma State, and just trying to find a way. They got Monty Williams, who was a great coach at Phoenix, now is with the Pistons. But 28 in a row, and just there's history you want to be a part of, and there's history you don't want to be a part of.
Yeah, this is not what they want to be a part of. So close last night. You know, they were in it. ESPN was breaking into bowl coverage last night. I don't know if y'all saw that. Like, hey, the Pistons have a 5-point lead here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Breaking news.
You know it's bad when you are terrible and they're trying to see if you win, like they're Aaron Judge trying to break 62. And so last night the Detroit Pistons lose again. And so
they did cover last night, just for the record.
So there you go. For those that have been trying to bet that bet all year, at least the Pistons covered. But the Pistons are literally running out of steam in their engine of Pistons and need to find a way to get a W. The other thing last night, of course, I want to get into the College Bowls. Last night or yesterday, Thursday, full slate. Really, we've had full slates of games the last few days. Games starting at 2 or whatever. Yesterday, we had a full kickoff at 11 o'clock. The Wasabi Fenway Bowl. Boston College winning 23-14 over SMU. Rutgers beating University of Miami 31-24 in the Bad Boys Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. And then Arizona winning last night 38-24 over Oklahoma. And I saved the last one, even though it wasn't, was the Pop-Tarts Bowl, K-State winning 28-19. Did y'all see there was actually a toaster that the Pop-Tart mascot went in and then whoop, came out and a real Pop-Tart where they could eat? And the trophy had a Pop-Tart. I'm telling you, I was all about Pop-Tarts last night.
Yeah, no, I saw that. I like the Wasabi Fenway because that's just fun to say. I was like, that's my favorite bowl. And then this one, the Pop-Tart, only because they legitimately can make real Pop-Tarts right there. It's so cool.
Huge toaster. And then you can see, I'm going to find the video. I was watching a while ago doing some pre-prep. And you could see the coaches and some of the players breaking off the icing of that huge Pop-Tart. And taking bites.
Yeah, the edible mascot is what they were calling it the whole game. And kudos, I got to throw this out. The Pop-Tarts Bowl and then the day before, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. You talk about marketing, you're going to see a whole lot more of random food products become sponsors of bowl games because the marketing of those two games has been through the roof.
Well, and I think Cheez-Its is the big sponsor for the CFP. So there's no telling. We may have the white cheddar Cheez-It. We may have the regular Cheez-It, the toasted Cheez-Its. Got to be careful with Cheez-Its because you say something bad. But the Pop-Tart Bowl, I just, and Misty and I talked about this a little bit, and I hope this is not your bag. But we talked about it yesterday at lunch that I lost, about what I would want to be poured on me. You know, I like caramel, but I'm not a big mayo guy. I'd much rather have Miracle Whip than mayo. But I'm a fan of Pop-Tarts. I appreciate it being, I think it was the cherry Pop-Tart, which is the only way to go.
The only, I agree.
Scott Van Pelt was posting on Twitter last night, or X, formerly known as Twitter, about the cherry one and how that's the only way to go. And he said buy it in a single package at a convenience store. And I said, and you hold it up to your heater and let it toast it a little bit, and then it would be perfect. But yeah, last night, a full slate of ball games, a full slate of them today. Yes, Josh, my boy Clemson and Dabo Swinney playing today against Kentucky, Oregon State, Notre Dame, Memphis and Iowa State, and then Missouri and Ohio State playing in the Cotton Bowl. I'm so ticked off that I didn't buy a ticket and didn't win the stuff.
The raffle.
Yeah, that really ticks me off. Had every intention, didn't get entered because I think tonight's game, which would be interesting, and we got about a little less than 4 minutes. And I don't know how much bowl games you've watched, Misty or Andy. I've watched some, but it's been hard to do so because of the NFL, but also because of not knowing who's playing.
Yep.
But now that's what's exciting about these next couple of days. The guys that are supposed to be playing are going to be playing.
Yeah, I think it's time for that. And I'll tell you, too, for me, this time of year traditionally has been fun because of the bowl games, and you lead up from the lower tier bowls to now, which I think is still true. But this day and age of the NIL and guys opting out and transfer portal and stuff, you don't even know, one, who's playing team-wise, but then on those teams, who's playing individual-wise. So it's made it tough, but now we're getting into the kind of the fun part of the bowl season.
Well, and the best part about it is it gives me an excuse, kind of like if the wind's blowing and I didn't shoot well at golf. The reason I'm not doing well on our pick'em is, I didn't know Drake May wasn't playing. Or I didn't know so-and-so wasn't playing. So it's benefiting me in that regard, but it had been fun. Like they don't know if Marvin Harris Jr. is going to play tonight. But I think starting today, Kay Kluge from Clemson, they're going to play. These guys are trying to still win things for this year, make propositions and to make statements for next year. And so bowl games kicking off for sure. The other thing last night, Thursday Night Football, and again, we're going to talk more about this a little bit later, but is Joe Flacco not the man right now? The Cleveland Browns win last night 37-27. 37-27.
37-20.
37-20, there you go, 37-20.
We're going to get there.
I felt like I was an auctioneer right there.
So
37-20, but it really wasn't that close. I mean, they had 34 points in the first half. Flacco's just tossing dimes left and right, moving around like he's 20. And they win last night. And we're going to talk about it later, but what Joe Flacco's doing is reminding me of Tom Watson in the old British Open back in 2009, I believe, or just a golfer that hadn't won in 7 years and all of a sudden wins the weekend. He's in a moment right now that you've got to start wondering, because of their defense, are the Browns, and again, don't give anything away for next hour, but the Browns are pretty legit right now.
Well, it's something that we talk about in sports. Momentum is everything, and a team can get hot what feels like overnight. Andy just mentioned, what happens to Patty if he turns on a dime. I mean, it's really anybody's Super Bowl at this point. And so it is going to be interesting to see that momentum and how far it really does carry the Browns. I don't know that we're exactly on the same page with that. We'll talk about that later in the show, but I am curious to see what happens in the coming weeks.
And here's the thing. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe in that, but I do believe in confidence. We talked about that last year with the Wiley team that made the big run. They had confidence. And when you go into a game with some confidence, you get a little bit of swag, you get a little bit of belief, and it can carry you through and allow you to do things that maybe you didn't think you could do.
And you're talking about a Super Bowl winning quarterback now who's leading that team. So, momentum being the thing. And again, it's wide open. Miami's up and down, Buffalo's up and down, Kansas City's obviously up and down. If you get up at the right time, who would have thought the Cleveland Browns would be in this conversation? But here they are.
Well, and the funny thing is, and I put this out, the script people, that big commercial with the script of the NFL. Who would have thought the script that Joe Flacco, who used to play with the Jets, would be over with the Browns playing Thursday Night Football against the Jets with the guy, man bun, that they thought would be the quarterback on the sideline. Well, there's a lot of guys on the sideline, but those folks that are not are getting ready for some big bowl games this week, and we'll talk about those right after this.
Good stuff.
Whoop! I needed to shake this up, but I didn't want to be over here like. It's my spark. I was like making
want me to shake way off?
No. I've done several things on that camera that, I get made fun of. So. Yeah.
Oh. What time's the ball open? 8?
I think 7 or 7:30.
Oh, okay.
And people start walking. Missy's got a favorite little small guy.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
digging this setup, man. Look.
It's really cool. I haven't really got comfortable sitting in that chair yet because you can't move. One of these days, I think it may start the new year off with the tank top, you know.
Yeah.
I need to lose some weight. How's Coop liking? They're having a pretty good basketball year.
Yeah, they're doing good. They're 7-2 or 8-2. They're having a good little year. They got a big win. Wiley East is good, man. They're good. We played them early and they beat us like 30. When we played them right before holiday, we beat double overtime. So that was good. So he's feeling pretty good. He's having a good little year.
18 or?
Yeah, he's on 18. He's having a good little year.
And he's an 8th grader?
Yeah. So
that's wild that he'll be a freshman.
Boy, you're telling me. It's crazy. So, and Drew's settled in at Oklahoma State, man. Who would have thought?
That's good.
Try to raise him right. And, you know, sometimes you fail.
Could have gone to OU.
Yeah. No, OSU's been awesome, though. We've been up there twice this fall. It's been awesome. So.
There's a lot of kids from Wiley that are there.
Yep. How's Greg?
Good. Yeah, it was good.
Awesome.
Christmas felt weird being on, what was it, a Monday this year? Yeah.
As
So,
a banker, it should have felt normal.
well, but, you know,
Well,
I've worked more this year. They usually give me a hard time. I'm usually like burning vacation days at the end of the year. But this year I had used them all up before. So I worked the 26th and
Oh, wow.
yeah, I mean, we just
Right back in.
rolling back in. Yeah. So, but it was good having a long weekend.
Which branch are you by ICU?
Yes.
The new branch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. It's so nice. Yeah.
But you know, it's like I told Reed the other day, both of y'all's branches are modern. I mean, obviously the newest one's modern,
Yes.
but even the one on Southwest Drive is pretty modern looking. It doesn't look like a.
Yeah, it's just a little bit more country, maybe, like the decorations and stuff, the inside, a little bit more, I don't know, Western versus our branch is very ACU aesthetically, like pleasing, because it had to kind of match that area whenever they built. That was a big deal because that was actually ACU's land that we had to do a lease off of. Yeah.
I think
So
they own everything around there.
yeah,
It's
so
literally like Monopoly.
yeah,
Again.
so it was interesting getting everything, the plans and all that they had to go through. Took a little bit to get done, for sure.
Oh, Level and what's the other radio guy's name on Protect? They were ESPN Plus last night with Tech and then
Oh, really?
Sam Houston State. They were the
Jim
guy.
Young or Jeff Paxton? Or...
The guy that always has touchdown. Texas.
Oh, Brian Jensen.
Maybe.
They're so cute. I want all of them on workers.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. Again, our Lawrence Hall headline report. Bowl games up and rolling. Rutgers taking down Miami. SMU falls to Boston College. A lot of talk with SMU and the ACC. Florida State throwing them under the bus and all these things. K-State last night with the Pop-Tart Bowl, 28-19 in Arizona, who's coming to the Big 12, beating the last game that's ever played for OU in the Big 12 last night. Loses 38-24 in the Alamo Bowl. Of course, Gabriel Daniels, again, that's been the talk since this college football season has been rolling and ended, is quarterbacks leaving, quarterbacks being their own agent, their own travel, they're literally their travel agent as they start looking and moving to other places. And again, that was bowl games last night. And that's our Lawrence Hall headline report. Appreciate Lawrence Hall battling. Thank you again to all our sponsors. That's made it a great 2023 and looking forward to 2024. And so as we start making our way to the New Year's Six, where for the most part, people are going to be playing, people are going to be the names that you've been watching all year long, as opposed to what we've seen leading up to this week. Today, Ole Miss, Penn State in the Chick-fil-A Bowl, Liberty. Of course, a lot of these will be tomorrow. The big New Year's Six will kick off tomorrow. Some of the games today that I'm excited about is the Cotton Bowl. Missouri is kind of trying to make that turn. Not long ago, guys, Missouri was not very good. and they played Georgia real tough this year, and now have an opportunity to play Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl tonight. Again, 8 o'clock kickoff. And so it'll be interesting to see. Again, Kyle McCord, the starting quarterback for Ohio State, where else do you go? There's only certain places that you want to go be the quarterback for. And to me, Ohio State is one of those. And then you want to opt out. You're a play or two away from beating Michigan and being in the college football playoff. I just don't understand. And again, I'm 45, be 46 next month. I'm not 19 or 20. I just don't understand some of the decisions some of these guys are making.
It's a narrative that is taking over college athletics, unfortunately, because you say 45, I'm right there with you. 45 is a day and age of you freshman year. You redshirted to get the opportunity to be the starting quarterback at a place like Ohio State. It's, hey, if I can maybe get a little bit more NIL money somewhere else. I know I started an entire season for the Buckeyes, but let's go try somewhere else.
Yeah, it's all about the Benjamins right now. I mean, the loyalty is just out the window because unfortunately money talks, and that's all these kids are seeing. And it's really sad, in my opinion. But I mean, I get it. It's a business. But in at 19, you're seeing all these dollar signs, but dang, have some loyalty, stick it out, win that bowl game for your school, and then go do the things.
Well, and I haven't researched it a whole lot about when they can enter the portal, but to me, your portal stuff should start at the college football.
I totally agree. And I think that is a game changer, pun intended, because it definitely would just change everything if it was after. Maybe they will make that change. I don't know, but they need to do something because it's out of control right now.
And you talk about the Benjamins, and I joked about it earlier about our bowl pick'em. There's a lot of people every day on their phone in Vegas making wagers on these college football games.
Yeah.
And it does matter if Drake May plays for North Carolina.
Of course.
It does matter if Gabriel Daniels plays for Oklahoma. And so you start seeing that. So why not leave them in? And why not have that opportunity to almost force, and force may be a bad word, but to make Gabriel Daniel play against Arizona yesterday? And now I have this great game, and then now I'm even more valuable to pick where I want to go, as opposed to now he's going to Oregon, and I'll look it up in a minute, but I think the quarterback from UCLA, there's 2 of them now that have enrolled to Oregon. It's almost like they showed up to the prom wearing the same dress, and they're like, what are you doing here? This is supposed to be my spot. Well, now you're going, and again, I always say my 130 for 30, I think we're going to see one day is Tommy Johns and kids and burnout in kids.
Yes.
I think the other one that eventually somebody's going to write and do is the transfer portal that did not work out. We see Bo Nix, and he's gone on from Auburn into Oregon, and he's had this big run, was a finalist in the Heisman. So he's had a good story. But how many people have gone and showed up and found out that freshman that came in from so-and-so, maybe a little bit better than me, or for whatever reason, that the transfer portal ends up not being as beneficial for others. Again, grass isn't always greener on the other side. Sometimes it's easier to mow. But I think we're seeing that in these kids, and like JT Daniels, the guy that's played for every school in the country, but still hadn't had a lot of success. And I think it's one of those, we're going to see the unfortunate of that. Going back to your Benjamins, Arch Manning made more money this year in his NIL than Brock Purdy did.
And that is really like, ugh, that is disgusting.
And didn't play, I mean, that I know of, didn't take a snap in the game.
But he played the second half of Texas Tech because my beloved Red Raiders were getting
Yeah.
blown out in the second half. So he didn't play in the second half.
Touche.
Of that one. But
Charity.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm right here with you.
yeah, thanks for teaming up for that. I appreciate that. But it's funny. I had the same conversation with a different person about 30 for 30 that's coming about the fallout of NIL. It might be 10 years from now, but I just think there's a little too many rose-colored glasses out there that think NIL is a good thing, where some of these college kids who, maybe in short term are benefiting from it, are setting themselves up for something that's going to be pretty unsuccessful.
Well, and for some of them, like Caleb Williams, let's say it is the Arizona Cardinals or the Chicago Bears. He's got another year of eligibility left. Yes, the money's pretty good, and there may be some more guaranteed to it And now you add NILs to, it wouldn't be NIL, it would just be endorsements from being the starting quarterback for an NFL team. But now you can make that decision. I'm going to stay and play one more year, still make X amount of dollars, and then wait for another opportunity. Because the thing is, and we mentioned the Detroit Pistons tanking. I don't think they're tanking, they're trying real hard. But the difference in the NBA and the NFL, in the NFL, if you're dead last, you're going to get the number one pick unless there's a trade thing. In the NBA, you got to hope your lottery balls bounce the right way to get that number one pick. And so when you see all this, it just makes you wonder, what will you start to see kids stay a year because the money's good enough? But I do think that, I don't think it's bad that they're finding a way to compensate these players, because everybody says, well, they get an education to get on that. That's true. But those universities are making a killing.
Yeah.
There's a reason you see TV deals in the billions. But I think you've got to find a way to salary cap it, max it out, because like Matt Rule said a couple weeks ago, if you want a good quarterback to come to this school, it's going to cost you $1.5 million to $2 million.
Well, I'd love to talk to Brock Purdy. I'd be like, hey, can I get a Christmas bonus or something? Because this kid is like tripling my salary, and he is doing well. I mean, he didn't do well in the last game, but overall, San Fran's bounced back and had Brock Purdy's been doing very well. And so, yeah, if I'm him, he's seeing those memes out there floating around too. I'd be like, oh, I'd love to get his take on that.
How crazy is that an NFL player can use negotiating power with
Yes.
their team based on a college athlete?
Yeah.
How crazy is that?
It is, but boy, I'd be like, I'm gonna need a Christmas bonus or something.
I mean, he's got a roommate. He needs a roommate. DeVito is living with his parents.
Yeah.
And Brock Purdy, Arch Manning. Now, granted, some of that is his last name is able to make some of that, I'm sure.
Of course,
but
yeah.
he's still making a killing. And so, but I don't know if you, and I'm sure you did, because I know you download, subscribe, rate, review like everybody else should. We talked last week about Chip Kelly saying football needs to just go independent, create its own thing, and then do like the NFL, have salary caps, have those things, because you still and Zane Sites and all those Baylor guys keep saying that Baylor's got to find a way to create that more NIL money in those other schools. Everybody's got donors. Now, some of them are a little bit different, but everybody's got those pocket of donors that still have that money. But you've got to find a way to, whether it's the TV deals or whatever, to create, okay, here's your pot of money like DraftKings. Go spend it what you want and do it the best. And I think you're going to start having to see general managers before long to make that work.
Yeah.
I may be wrong.
No,
I may be wrong, but
something's got to give.
Because eventually, and I've said this all along, it's hard enough because you're going to have and haves nots on all campuses. Alabama's got kids there that haves and haves nots, even though they're all good. And so now, if Misty comes in and she's the outside linebacker, and her NIL deal money is making her $4.5 million, and I've got walk on, I've got whatever that's just whatever, making $1,000 a month and still eating off meal money or whatever. You've got to work together as a coach to not let that stuff go to your head and still for you to focus. Because I've said this, I was hoping on Christmas Eve that the Cowboys would still play well and not think about being away from their families, not thinking about whatever. And for whatever reason, they still found a way not to win on the road. These kids are getting life-changing money at a very early age and having to figure out how to do it. And these coaches who already have a ton of money they're making themselves, convincing these kids to not focus on that. Because who's to say, all right, Andy, well, coach, I've got a photo shoot with Lawrence Hall here in a little bit. I need to wrap this up because that's where my money's being buttered, my bread's being buttered. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a big deal. We got about 2 minutes. Let's focus. Let's get off that train and go back to the stuff on the field. This weekend, you got Michigan, Alabama, Washington, and Texas. I feel like we're on our collision course for an Alabama-Texas rematch. Colin Cowherd said there's a chance he heard that if Saban were to win it all, he may retire. Who do you have? We got a minute and a half. Who do you have winning this weekend?
Go for it, Andy.
Okay, well, I'm probably pulling the personal heartstrings here more than probably research should. I probably should have researched this more, but just not a Texas guy. I'm sorry. I'm going with Washington. I'll just throw that out there. Texas is probably the most solid team there, but I'll take Washington. And then, man, it's so hard to pull against Alabama. I'm a hardball guy. I'm a Michigan guy. I love when Michigan beats Ohio State, but it's so hard to pull against Alabama. So I'll go Bama, Washington.
Whether he has 1 game left or 2 games left, is Harbaugh at Michigan or in the NFL next year?
I'm going off of things that I've heard. I think he's away from Michigan. He's going to walk away from any controversy and scandal. He's got NFL opportunities coming. I think you see Harbaugh in the NFL.
And good jobs open with good quarterbacks.
No doubt.
I've got a rematch. I want to see it. I've got them in. Texas is the best team right now. They just, in my opinion, they've earned it. Let's go get it. And so go Longhorns. I'm a Raider fan, so that's deep and rich for me to say, but I'm on their train right now. We talk about Saban retiring if he wins. I mean, knock yourself out, babe. You've done it all. You have nothing else to prove. I think you're going to be okay. I don't really see you having to be, getting a part-time job or anything. I think you're going to be good. I am curious.
Every network, including ESPN, will be trying.
Yeah, you're good. Like just leave it, go out with a bang if that happens. But I hope it doesn't happen. I hope UT wins. But it'll be interesting if Bama does take it and he does leave. What happens to that program when he's no longer there? Because, it kind of reminds me of like when Mac Brown was at UT. Yeah, towards the end, things got a little hairy. But, I mean, when he was there, they were doing great things. And then he leaves. And then here we go again with the dip.
Difference in those two.
We'll see.
Mac got let go.
Right, of course. But still, a powerhouse coach taking over a franchise is what I mean. And we'll see what happens. But I think that they will struggle if he's not there.
I think if he were to win it all, I think the question would be, does Alabama call Dabo? Dabo was an assistant coach there, played there. That would be interesting if they called Dabo. I've got the rematch as well. I think the best game has a chance to be actually the Washington Texas game.
Yep.
Michael Penix Jr. up for the Heisman. I think they're going to be really good. Defensive line is good for Texas. So I've got Texas Alabama, unfortunately, as well. And I think Alabama's going to win another one. People probably aren't going to like it, but I got Alabama winning. When we come back, we're going to look back at some of the teams of the year in our Big Country Electric My Town segment and look back on 2023.
Yeah, Bama. Clay and I were talking about it last night. It's like they do, man. You think, okay, they're gonna lose, and then they just come. They always find a way. Dang it.
Jalen Milroe, he got benched.
Yeah, early
after the Texas game.
Yeah,
and they're peaking at the right time.
I know it is.
And one of the good things is it's not that big of a break. They get to play. Unfortunately, Alabama and Michigan are playing in the Rose Bowl, which is cool. You've got two experienced coaches that have been in this situation before, in Harbaugh and Saban. Sarkisian's been in it as an OC for Alabama. I think it's got a chance to be.
It's either way. It's going to be exciting to watch.
Do you think Dabo gets the first call if Saban retires? Because I think Kirby Smart's on that list. I think Sarkisian's on that
list.
There's
several, yeah.
If you're Sarkisian, I think a lot depends on, that means if it's open, Alabama just won it.
Yeah.
And Saban, decides to.
Yeah.
Well, no, what I'm saying is if I'm Sarkisian, is the Alabama job better than Texas, or is it only a better job because what Saban made it? Because the Texas job is the Texas job, whoever's the coach.
Yeah.
Because even when Tom Herman was the guy, it was still one of the top jobs in the country.
Sure.
He just didn't make it work. I mean, to me, Texas, Notre Dame, Michigan, probably Ohio State and Oklahoma falls into that. Because Florida State and Miami used to be the jobs, but were they the jobs because of Jimmy Johnson, and were they the jobs because of Bobby Bowden? Now, granted, Larry Coker won a national championship there. So if I'm Sarkisian, is the Texas job better than the Alabama job?
money-wise, probably.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's again, all about those Benjamins. It's gonna come
Well,
down
but I
to the
think
money.
both of them, because they proved that they could pay Saban this load of money.
Yeah.
So they can pay Sarkeesian that.
Yeah. For him, yeah, I think it would probably be all about the Benjamins for sure. But yeah.
What's he make now? He makes plenty now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, who knows what, yeah, I have more than I'll probably make in my lifetime.
And Dabo's got deeper Alabama roots, obviously, because he played there. So Sark probably.
And if I'm Kirby, I think you're right. Kirby's probably at least the first or second call.
For what he's established, he might be perfectly content to stay at Georgia.
Right.
You know, who knows?
Could be interesting. We need a Hodge Pack bowl. Let's get a local Hodge Pack bowl.
Shot well.
Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? We'll be like, okay, who wants to play in it? That would be so fun.
What would be funny is if you could get some youth kids.
We've got the sponsorships. We can get the sponsors and
Get
locally.
some youth kids to play in a bowl.
That would be so
raise
fun.
money for charity.
Yeah, I know, like a local bowl, the Hodge Pack bowl. And like, let's get this
Throw
rolling.
cheese sticks and chicken
Yeah.
tenders.
Oh yeah, let's flip some tortillas. We'll just cover all what all the colleges do.
How about what's on the Hodge Pack?
Well, yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that would actually be really fun.
Hey, you can do like a high school football game first week of the season.
Yeah,
They used to have that kickoff classic.
Yeah.
You can do a Hodge Pack kickoff
Yeah.
classic, man.
that could be really fun.
Feeling it.
That would be a lot of fun.
Partner with the Sports Alliance.
Yeah. But they get on board with that.
Yeah, that would be a lot of fun. Need to look into that.
Favorite Hodge Pack moment of the year. Ooh.
That is a hard one. Mine should be most embarrassing Hodge Pack moment of the year.
What, eating the burrito?
Yes, I may have to
You
talk
can
about that. That
I don't know
was,
that
oh
story.
my gosh,
I remember we're at the
Fairway. We were doing a remote. Yeah, mine is embarrassing.
This is our town. This is our Big Country Electric My Town segment. We normally highlight a local player, coach, or program, and today we're going to highlight some teams, some programs, and just the year of 2023. Again, we want to thank Big Country Electric. They take care of their members each and every day. Roby Snyder and Stanford, just a great job. We appreciate Sarah and Will and all the loyal listeners there at Big Country Electric, and appreciate them. And so today I threw out or this past week, I threw out on our Facebook page, and again, go like us on Facebook, follow us on @the Hodge Pack, of just teams of the year, plays of the year, local, pro. I think the pro team was easy for us in 2023 in this area by far with the Texas Rangers winning the World Series. The Cowboys have won a Super Bowl in my lifetime. I mean, obviously, we mentioned that we're both 45, 46. We're working on it. Misty's not there yet. But Misty was alive
I
too.
was alive too.
Barely. It was 28 years ago when the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. But it wasn't quite in our. I don't know if I enjoyed it the way I did the Rangers winning the World Series.
Oh, because we had waited for so long. I think we were a little spoiled, you and I, as kids, because I think you're 96er, right? Okay, so my freshman year, my sophomore year, my senior year of high school were the Dallas Cowboys. I became very spoiled to it, whereas the Rangers, we had too many heartbreaks. Now the heartbreaks are on the backside of the Cowboys, but at least we can say, hey, we saw them win one. And now, for the Rangers, all the heartbreaks are on the front side, and we get to, enjoy it that much more.
Well, and you think about it, we've gotten to watch a Cowboys Super Bowl in that time frame.
Yep.
The Stars won a Stanley Cup.
Yep.
The Mavs won a NBA championship. Should have won 2. Should have won in
First to
06.
get away.
Yeah. And then the Rangers, now all 4 of the pro teams in the DFW area have won a title. But you start seeing as an adult, and you start seeing and it was crazy, the videos of people filming their dad or somebody, and they got emotional when the Rangers won. We were at Mulligan's when they won, and you just saw the emotion of people that really, you mentioned it, Andy, had been waiting for this for a long time. It's different in Alabama. They get disappointed because they didn't win their 7th. They didn't win national championship number or whatever. And so getting to see that this year as the Rangers, and then the excitement of, is something starting to where next year we're just as excited because you got these guys coming back. Yes, Garver and some of those guys have gone on, but for the most part, the core of the people coming back are going to be here. And so being able to see that, obviously the Texas Rangers is the pro team of the year, and it's an easy choice.
Yeah, I don't think that anybody can debate that. There's really no discussion. So, and at least in our area. So, yeah.
Well, and I just think you look at the people like Corey Seager, and you saw the road, literally the road they had to do it on. They lose to Seattle last game of the year, and then have to go on the road, and took care of business with Tampa Bay, and then took care of business with the Orioles, who was the hot team going into winning the AL East, and of course the Arizona. And then they had the Astros, and had to go do it in a fashion like, we can't win at home. It was the opposite.
Yes.
Like across the street, the Cowboys can't lose. The other side of the street, the Rangers couldn't win. And now they go off and they do what they did against the Astros. You had the heated debate between Garcia and
that was a great series.
And then you get to Arizona, and you had to find a way to battle back. Corey Seager with the bomb. We got done with a football game that Friday night.
Yep, got on to see it. Yep.
And I popped into a spot to watch it, and then I'm hanging out, and all of a sudden that bomb, and he ties it up. Seager ties it up, and I ended up going over to Zane's house to watch the rest of it. And it was one of those things that was a rush, if you will, for a sports fan.
And you mentioned, I'll take it back too. You say, is this the start of something? And I think based on conversations we had on the NIL, I think obviously the same is true in professional. You never know in this day of free agency, and who knows what's going to happen. And of course you throw in, injuries and the things that can happen over the course of a season that goes 6, 7, 8 months. That's what makes it all the more special, because you don't know if this is the start of something special. So you better enjoy the one you got.
Well, it's like Dan Marino. Dan Marino went to one Super Bowl, and everybody thought he was going to go back to plenty, and never went back. And I said that, unfortunately. Joe Burrow is going to be the next Dan Marino. He had a chance to beat the Chiefs that year, or the Rams. Unfortunately didn't, and I don't know if they'll ever get back. And so it's easy. The Texas Rangers are our pro team of the year. Of course, you could throw out Seager, Simeon, Garcia Bombi made some big runs and big hits during that time. Of course, Bruce Bochy. I mean, you want to talk about a guy that helped change a culture, change a mindset of this guy that would get out there and look like he just got off the horse and went out there. It looks like it was painful to go to the mound every time to make a pitching change. It was fun for him, and so fun for me to watch him. Just an old guy that says, coaching's coaching, and no matter how old you are, and coaching is coaching. Of course, he helped manage to another World Series, and easily will be in Cooperstown whenever it's time for Bruce Bochy to be in Cooperstown. Okay, let's talk about local sports. We had some votes people put out, of course, some. Of course, Benjamin winning back-to-back state championships. Westbrook was another one that somebody posted about how Westbrook had changed. Westbrook and Benjamin had put their team and their communities on the map. Albany winning back-to-back state championships. Of course, the Hermley softball team, the Lady Cardinals, they by far were my story of the year. I wrote in my deal, just on my personal stuff, onto our page, 7-0 vote that the monument's coming. But one team, and we talked to them, we talked to Coach Kim Williams, but it was the Roby Lady Lions got some votes. And of course, that's what we want, is we want you to say that your team deserves it. But Roby Lady Lions winning state in track and field, in the spring, and then 6 months later winning the state cross country. Of course, they're led by Kim Williams, who won a state championship on the Roby Lady Lions basketball team in 09. And so, though you think about the success that the Big Country had, and I told you, Misty, when I was looking at the Hodge Pack stuff and looking back on the year, I went through the podcast. We encourage you to download, subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, Apple or Spotify. And looking back on some of the things that you thought were last year that were this year. But when you start thinking about that, Benjamin won the 2 state championships in a row. Westbrook won 2, couldn't win the 3rd one this year, came up a little short to Gordon, which they're loaded. Hermely winning the state championship, first one in school history. Roby winning back-to-back. What stood out to you based on what people said and what you think?
I mean, you love a back-to-back. I mean, it's hard to get there one time, but to do it 2 times and to even go 3 times, and even though you fell short, gosh, I mean, how do you compete with that? But I think for me, it's Hermely is going to be my high school team of the year. It was really a toss-up between Albany and Hermely for me, but I think because of everything that surrounded the Hermely situation and how, we kind of got told about that story and then hopped on that train. But for me to be able, that's the first one in the entirety of the school. Football hasn't done it, baseball, basketball, nothing. These girls did it. And then just, the monument and all of that and getting it done. For me, I'm going to give it to the Hermely softball team for my high school team of the year.
And I'll piggyback with you on that. And, I worked for Fellowship of Christian Athletes for 3 years. So I got to know, the guys that lead these programs. Sid Winters is awesome guy.
Yes.
Absolutely awesome guy. So shout out to Coach Winters and what he did out there. I think that's awesome because, one, I know he coaches boys basketball too. So he leaves a boys basketball season when it ends and picks up a softball team and they're
and women. I mean, there's women are coached differently than men are.
Sure.
And so I think I only met him when they came into the studio last week, but you could just tell super awesome guy.
But the other thing,
kudos to him.
The other thing about that is they went to the regional tournament in basketball.
Right. Yeah.
So now you're having to come off of that high and focus on a team that just went to the state champion, who was in the finals the year before. Now you got to come off this high, get ready to go make this run. Now, one thing is softball's a little bit shorter because by the time you get done with regional tournament,
you're a district play.
You're rolling right now.
Right.
And so it was very, very impressive on what he was able to do.
Yeah. So shout out to Coach Winters and shout out to Coach Faith too in Albany.
Yes.
We're talking about the Nick Stamens of the world. Coach Faith's in that conversation on the high school level too. So to watch him win 2 in a row, what does his future look like? Time will tell. I think he'll let us know pretty soon. But, back to back for Coach Faith here in the last 2 years have been pretty impressive.
And you mentioned who replaces Coach Saban. Who replaces Coach Faith? Because you've got some guys on that staff. I've said it over and over. Similar to what Hugh had at Wiley. Was there forever, same staff forever.
Right.
And now that you start seeing the transition from Coach Faith, you got Fairchild, you got I think Swintez that's there. You got some guys that may want that job and want that responsibility, and having to make that call could be tough. So do you give it to Albany as your team of the year?
I'd give Albany a shout out. Yeah, I think it's just impressive. Adam Hill, something special to watch. And, again, as a Red Raider, to watch him put on some more red and black up in Lubbock. I think he's got a chance to do something special. And loving the Big Country guys, of course, Barry Morton at Tech and Adam Hill to join that. That'll be fun to continue to watch.
Well, and I agree with the Hermely and I agree with Albany. I'll give a shout out to my team of the year. Would be what Roby's done, going back to back and trying to. I'm hoping Kim can transfer that to the basketball court. But a great job by them as well. And of course, what Coach Matlock and all them have done. Bounce back from the wreck and have to deal with all that. But again, it's been a great year for Big Country sports, and we'll see what basketball does with Jim Ned and some other teams that are Eula and some other teams that are playing pretty good. And can Benjamin go back to the state tournament in basketball? That's the other thing that we don't talk about is, yes, Benjamin won the state championship in football, but they went to the state championship in basketball and just came up short to Grayford. And so we'll see what happens there. But again, great year. We got about a minute, and of course we're going to come back and do your bag. But Hodge Pack moment of the year. I look back on the people we had this year. Personally, being able to have Rangers Matt Hicks, the radio guy. We've had Jason Fitz, Marty Smith, who's a Marty McGee. You'll see him all weekend covering the college football playoffs this weekend. And of course, Mike Greenberg being on and then giving us these copies of the book and all those things. That's been pretty cool this year.
Oh yeah, no, this has been, I mean, we've been doing, the show's almost been on the air 5 years next month, and I haven't been the entire time, but yeah, I don't even know. Definitely 3 to 4 years or something that I've been on now. And so, yeah, I mean, every year I feel like it gets better and better. We're in this awesome new studio. I love it, loving at the mall. And so, yeah, I'm just super excited, looking forward to next year. And, you know, for me, one of my favorites has to be when my son called in. You know, he was graduating that weekend at high school, and that was kind of an emotional time for me. And Trace Michaels was in, and Ryan, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, they kept telling me to put the headphones on, and I don't ever wear headphones. And now I know why, because my son was calling in, and I was like, ooh, like, I was like, okay, don't cry. And I did pretty good, but that I even tear up thinking about it. It was an emotional time, definitely, when it was just special, you know, that he called in that day and was like, hey, mama. I was like, oh my God, I know that voice.
Well, and you mentioned it, and I know we need to go to break, but like the other night I was officiating a game and for Coach Reese at Abilene High, and we were talking about it before, while the girls' game was, before the girls' game started. He said, yeah, me and my son, we listen every morning.
Yeah.
And when people, I mean, Coach Reese and I have become friends through the show, and the coaching brotherhood's always going to be there, even though I've been out of it for 12 years. When you hear people that aren't related to you enjoying the show, it's really cool. And so we never take you for granted. Sponsors, listeners, we never take you for granted. We thank you very much. So we're going to head to the commercial break so we can keep rolling and pay those bills. We'll be back right after this.
Okay, so later on, are we gonna go through like our college team, player of the year, play, story of the year, all of those?
Probably not.
Okay.
And you have them.
I do. Well, because I'm looking at segment 7, and so we've got it down here, and so we can come back to that if we want.
We can.
Yeah, I have every category, but we really only touched on. We really all only said high school team of the year.
Right. We talked about
the pro team. I think
we talked about the Rangers.
So we can go over college team, player of the year, play, story of the year, and then surprise of the year. I think we could run through those because I think that
I do want to talk about it, because I think one of the moments of the year, even though it faded away, was when Dion and Colorado beat TCU.
Oh yeah.
And all the eyes went to Boulder. We thought,
well, that's what I'm saying. I think those are some good talking points, and I think we all probably have something different. So let's be sure in segment 7, after knowing or whenever you want to do it, let's be sure to go back to those and we put it out to the listeners. So we have people that did every category. So I think that'll be good to circle back to kind of throughout the show, talking about, you know, things over the year. Cause yeah, I got a few things written down.
What is bougie sushi? I'm a little afraid of that segment.
Oh, and I need to tell him the story about my burrito.
So we were talking about sushi. How did it was on one of the episodes. It was either the Knowings Have the Battle or something.
Well, and I know we talked about about you cannot get sushi from a convenience store because then like you're gonna be in the bathroom at the convenience store, and so we had this whole segment about like it was so gross, but like we all know what we're talking about. It's like the all-subs burrito and the taco sauce. Like you better be prepared.
Yep.
And yeah, I think that's what we were talking about. Like you have to have like good bougie sushi because things can go south very quickly if not. But no, one time we were doing a remote at Fairway, and Hodge, a lot of time, I would eat.
We're doing a Fairway 500, I think.
Yes.
I had to leave.
You had to leave. So Greg Austin's with us, Josh and I, we're going to finish the show. And that morning, Ryan was like, hey, this camera's not working. And I was like,
third camera, the one that I still don't know where it's at here, wasn't working for whatever reason. And so
it was like here.
This camera on her was working. And so
I didn't know that though, because he was like, the third camera's not working.
That camera showed everybody.
And so I didn't think it was working. So I was like, no big deal, just turn it that way to Josh, whatever. So we're in between segments and my burrito's right there. And I was like, oh, I'll just eat a couple of my bites. So I literally take the burrito and I go all in. Like, it's not like a dainty bite. Like, I'm like, and Josh is on the other side and he starts dying. He goes, oh my God. He was like, you just went in on that burrito on camera. And I was like, what? He goes, all I did was see you like, oh. Well, so then after the show, I went back and watched the live and like snipped it and sent it to them. And I was like, I am mortified. So then I'm like dying laughing because I'm like, well, everybody just saw me like go to town on this burrito. And it was just so embarrassing, but so funny.
Oh,
and so that became a thing, like Misty's gonna eat her burrito or whatever.
Oh,
It's great.
That's fun.
Well, welcome back to the Hodge Pack. We're rocking and rolling. Getting close to that 8 o'clock hour, brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. We're glad that you're with us again. Hodge, Misty, and Andy Penny joining us in studio, in the Tosi Live studio. Be sure you head out to Tosi Live this weekend. Watch Cowboys tomorrow night. You can hear the Cowboys. Don't forget, it is not a Sunday game. It is tomorrow night, part of Monday Night Football, but you can hear it right here on KLGD, the home of the Dallas Cowboy Radio Network. And so we've been talking about our fun year of 2023. We'll talk more about that in the 8 o'clock hour, but now it's time for Misty's Bag.
Such a fun segment, never gets old. Shout out to Mulligan's. You know, they came on this year. We talk about things that happened this year. Mulligan's came on as a, sponsor of Misty's Bag segment, and it's been super, super fun. We love the staff at Mulligan's Sports Bar, Grill and Golf. And this week they've got, more live music. So y'all get out to Mulligan's. It's just always so much fun.
And real quick, just in case for some, I know we get new listeners, you're driving through and you've heard about it and you're starting to say, Misty's Bag is not an actual bag. It is a bag of questions that Josh and I have been answering for almost 5 years. And hopefully we don't get stumped. Last week, feel free if you want to hear Josh as a rapper, me as a country music singer, and Misty as a hillbilly, download last week's podcast.
That is true.
Yes or not? Be sure you download the Hodge Pack podcast, Apple or Spotify. Misty, go ahead.
I don't know why I went all hillbilly accent last week.
Did Kyle get offended?
I don't think so, but it was one of my favorite Misty's Bag questions ever. Y'all killed it. It was so great. But so I've been thinking about this one. So I don't know. When I was growing up, you have a Christmas meal, a New Year's meal. Did y'all grow up having like these traditional, or maybe they were non-traditional meals, but you had a meal, right, that you were eating for New Year's?
Not for New Year's, but for like Christmas. I mean, obviously we had the traditional Thanksgiving stuff, but at Christmas, when we would go to my grandmother's in Amarillo or whatever, we normally did Mexican food for Christmas. We didn't go traditional. We didn't go back-to-back traditional meals for the holiday for Christmas. Christmas and Thanksgiving didn't match.
Gotcha. Okay, so we would do, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and then there was also a nice meal for New Year's to kind of kick it off. We'd have a nice meal, and so there was a specific something in that meal at New Year's that I to this day, if I smell, I'm not kidding, I will gag.
What is that?
I'm not going to tell y'all yet. I'm going to make y'all answer first.
Okay.
So I want to know, what's something you were forced to eat as a kid that you would not eat today if you had nothing else? You're like, I cannot eat this. Like, there is no way I can eat this.
Wow. Okay.
Well, I'll give a shout out. I know Billy's watching now, and I think my parents are probably watching it on the TV there at the house. My parents never really forced me to eat anything.
I was forced to eat this one thing. This was the only thing, but
no, I wasn't forced to eat that. Hey, just real quick, we're going to pause for station identification for that top of the hour real quick.
106.9 FM, we are the country giant.
Guys should make sure you take care of that FCC stuff. But so I never was forced to eat anything that I can remember as a kid that you got to eat this.
Did they make you like try stuff?
No, not at all.
Oh my gosh, really?
No.
Lucky.
No.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, it sounds like Andy and I were
Well, I will
raised
tell you- I will tell
differently.
you, I do have things that the smell will not touch. I will tell you the things. If I was forced to, that would be in that category. How anybody eats tuna fish and gets it past their nose to their mouth, God bless them, or they need to be, checked out. Tuna fish, not having it. Really, chicken salad. I don't do sandwiches that squish.
I'm with you on that.
No chicken
no
salad.
PBJ. My
PB
chin is so long, it keeps hitting this cover. I'm like,
You're welcome, YouTube.
yeah, I'm sorry.
But no, do not apologize. So the tuna fish, PB&J is the only squish sandwich I will do.
Okay.
I'm not doing tuna. I'm not doing egg salad, chicken salad. I tried pimento cheese at Augusta only because it was at Augusta. But tuna fish, I don't understand how anybody, and they're like, man, that's good tuna. How do your nose got to slap your mouth and say, don't do it? It blows my mind.
Well, and what's fun? Okay, that's on my honorable mention list. That's funny because there were things that I would eat as a kid that I'm like, how in the world did
I
eat
ate
that
spinach as a kid because of Popeye. I don't think I would do it today.
Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
And that's an honorable mention. Tuna fish is an honorable mention. Green peas and ranch dressing. Like I used to eat green peas and ranch dressing in a bowl all the time. And now
Really? What an interesting combo.
And I think about that now, and I'm like, never in a million years will I touch that in a million years.
How about Spam? Did anybody eat
Spam back in the day?
I don't know if I was ever on the Spam
Or
train.
Vienna sausages?
Not
Did do
happening.
that.
Yeah.
Did do that, but not
Ooh,
again.
yeah,
Never
no,
again.
and potted meat. Oh man. Woo! Hey, we were poor. We had to do what we had to do, y'all. Potted meat is, you don't even know poor until you're eating potted meat. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
So what was your?
I have my one because you mentioned like.
Yeah,
when you
I wanna know
smell
the one.
smell, when you smell the smell, you start to gag. I have my one, and I don't even know if I really ate it much as a kid, unless if I had to. But asparagus out of a can, I just can't do asparagus out of a can. When that, when the can opener opens it and that aroma hits, I'm out. I'm out. Back in the day, I was out, and to this day, I'm still out. That probably takes the prize for me.
See, for me, so my mom used to make me eat black-eyed peas.
Oh.
Because have y'all heard
Oh,
the
yeah,
whole
good luck.
tradition? Good, you have to eat a spoonful of black-eyed peas or you're gonna have luck. And I remember literally being like, no, and she was like, yes, like this is good luck, blah blah blah. I'm like, oh my gosh. So to this day, I mean, if I even see them, and once I got older, I'd be like, I am not eating that. And I think it was just more when I was kind of a younger kid, probably in junior high. I don't really remember much in high school about eating them, but she would make me eat a spoonful of black-eyed peas for good luck, only once a year for New Year's.
Yeah, I say all the time, these people. First of all, I'm going to put my faith in the Lord, not a little pea.
That's what I said. I don't care.
I'll roll the dice on that deal.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
I want bad luck at this point. I don't care. I'm not eating them.
Because I got luck coming out the back end if I don't eat them. So black-eyed peas, and people that are, you got to have them,
Oh no,
And that may be my knowings at the battle. No, you don't have to have them.
no,
If that pea is what you're holding on to of luck,
babe, we got lots of
we got a lot
problems.
of problems, yeah. But there are people,
Yeah.
and there are, Coach, you mentioned Coach Winters, he's very superstitious.
Right.
And baseball people, I think, are superstitious. I think they're routinish. Is there a difference in superstition to be routinish? Because I think routinish is like, this works when I do it this way.
Right.
That'd be
I think
interesting.
they kind of fall in line.
Is routinish and superstitious the same?
I mean, I think they kind of fall in line, but to me, they're different. But I mean, I could
They
see.
may be cousins.
They're related. I
They may
think.
be cousins.
But-
Billy put liver. I've never tried.
Oh yeah,
I
another.
have zero desired liver.
No.
Gizzards, none.
Yeah, no.
But I do. Black-eyed peas. I don't know if they necessarily taste bad. I just don't need
I'm
them.
literally getting like chills thinking about it. Like,
green, green peas and ranch. I've never heard of that, but
Stay away.
I'm
just trust me.
but yeah, but tuna and chicken salad. And there are people that just love, like you got chicken salad yesterday.
yeah, chicken salad, tuna salad. Like, I'll do all the salads. Like,
No sandwiches at Squish is what I do. Don't
I
do
wonder
that.
if that's your problem with deviled eggs, because they squish too. He won't.
Never happened. Will not. No.
He will not.
Now you're missing out on devil.
See,
No,
thank
how?
you.
how? I mean, I'm barely.
You
an egg-
can't look at it. Just go
Yeah,
all
I'm
in.
barely-
Don't look at
I'm
it.
barely an egg person anyway. Period. I don't mind a scrambled egg with a lot of salt and pepper. Dad and my brother-in-law make pretty good eggs. If I get fried eggs, I'm gonna get fried eggs, but I need crunchy hash browns to put on top to chop it up in there. That's the only way to have it. So
You're
when I look
missing
at
out.
that, when I look at that dirty diaper, which is what I call the deviled eggs, the egg is diaper, the junk in the middle.
Wait
is
a
dirty.
minute. I just remembered something.
What?
I think that we had a bet if the monument happened, you were going to try a deviled egg.
It's got to be up first. It is-
Actually, no, I am remembering this now.
Yeah, you're stalling.
All right, we're glad that you went to
Yeah.
When we come back, we'll look at more. That is Misty's bag. Black-eyed peas, don't bring them to Misty. Green peas and ranch, don't bring them
And
to Andy.
asparagus.
Or asparagus, and do not bring me any tuna, because how it gets past your nose blows my mind. We'll be back right after this.
Oh my gosh, I just remembered that. You have to eat a deviled egg because the monument passed. Yes. Who was with us that show?
Kobe Freeman.
Yes, Colby Freeman. Oh my gosh, I was like, it was me and somebody else. It was not John, because we talked about Cork and Pig, that they have really good deviled eggs. Yeah, I said, okay, my deviled eggs are really good, but Cork and Pig, oh yes, another bet that you lost. Man, I love winning. Because he took me to Cyprus yesterday because he bet me that the Giants would beat the Eagles, and I was like, I'll take that bet.
Absolutely.
Which they got a little too close for comfort there. I was a little worried, but yeah. So he picked me up from the bank, took me to Cyprus, dropped me back off. He did very good. Paid for my chicken salad on a bed of lettuce at Cyprus. You were never gonna say anything about that bet.
Yep.
I'm telling you, my brain needs to be checked. I forgot all
Did
about
you
it.
forget? Yeah. No. Me and Colby did not forget. I did until just this moment.
That's like live on the show at 7:15. What a good way to start the day.
It's like, oh, I got to start writing this stuff down. My memory isn't great either, but it just hit me when we were chatting. Look.
The whole mood of the show just changed.
Yeah, he's like, damn it. Look, he's already gagging, coughing.
You better have a bag. Did not put that, because I guarantee you, there's no way that egg part or the goop that's in the middle of that I'm gonna like.
You will.
There's no way.
You will. You will.
It's kind of like, you know how you get yourself sick when you think about it. I'm probably gonna be sick before you even touch it.
No, I promise it's good. You like eggs,
Barely.
But
I don't
you-
like the white part.
but just trust. Trust and obey. There's no other way to be happy. But to trust and
I'm
obey.
trusting my gut on this. I'm trusting my gut that that's gonna
Okay.
suck butt.
Well, I'll only just one little bite. You don't even have to finish the whole egg.
No, you gotta finish the whole thing.
I'm trying to give you the benefit, and he's like, no, the whole egg.
You gotta take one down.
We have to film this and post it to the Hodge
Oh,
Pack.
yeah.
Look at him. He's like devastated.
Oh, I've owned up to both bets. I will do this for the Hermley girls.
You have done a great job. Yeah. I texted him yesterday. I was like, does chauffeuring me, is that included in the bet? He was like, I'll come get you. I was like, okay, good job. It was good. And then I was telling the waitress, I actually knew her, and I was like, yeah, we're not, what did I say? I was like, we're not cheating on our spouses. We're just friends. Like, cause we're so used to each other.
Sure.
We're just laughing and joking and carrying on. And we were sitting at the bar watching sports, obviously. And yeah, it was fun. So we had a good time. Yeah. Yes. I need to film the egg. We have to do that in the new year.
That's first show of the year. Either that or the anniversary show. Do you have an anniversary show lined up?
Yeah, the 19th is we're gonna do our.
That might be the day.
Yeah. Sometime in January, you better get ready.
I'll be 46 on the 16th. We'll do a show on the 19th.
Do you want to do it on your birthday?
No.
We can
Why would I
have
want to
a
ruin my birthday?
Cork and Pig on your birthday.
All right, Dallas Cowboys confidence meter.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah, what's next?
Andy, can you swing that way?
Yep.
Oh, I come back. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack. And rolling in our 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. And it's a devil of a day as Misty's brain worked back in time to remember that I would say I would eat a monument. Not a monument. I'd have a better chance of eating a monument probably than a deviled egg. But
Yeah, you look a little pale over there.
I am. I'm out of, well, again, thank you, Mi Ranchito, for the burrito. If you're out driving about, swing through Mi Ranchito, the official burrito sponsor, taco sponsor of the Hodge Pack, right there on Buffalo Gap Road. But you mentioned earlier on, we talked about when we broke the news of the story of the monument. I said I would try because we were talking about things because we were rolling into Thanksgiving, and that's how we got to the deviled egg talk. And I said I would eat a deviled egg or try one because everybody's like Cork and Pig or the Misty's eggs are great. As I air quote that because I call them dirty diapers. That I would try it if the monument came, and the monument came. And so one thing that did come was the monument. One thing that still hasn't come is a road win for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, you can listen to the Dallas Cowboys tomorrow right here as they take on the Detroit Lions. The NFC North champion Detroit Lions as Dave Campbell comes back, a place that he's familiar with the Dallas Cowboys organization. But let's talk about last week. Dak had a moment. He had a moment where he took the Cowboys on a 7-minute and 39-second drive to give the lead to the Cowboys, but then unfortunately the defense wasn't able to stop the kick of game-winning field goal, and the Cowboys lose again on the road. Still looking for that road win against a good team, and that's not going to happen until the playoffs because the next road game is at Washington. They're in shambles. Jacoby Brissett's going to be starting this week. No Sam Howell. Real good chance that Ron Rivera's out the door. So the Dallas Cowboys' next true road test, unless things change, are going to be when they play the NFC South champion in round 1 of the playoffs. So, and I wrote in the notes why Hodge thinks it should still be almost sky's the limit for the Cowboys. It's what we talked about briefly in the Lawrence Hall headline report. Is I think we saw what happened to the Ravens and the 49ers as the Ravens destroyed Brock Purdy. I guess my question, did Brock Purdy have a bad day or show who he is again?
I'd say bad day because I think he's proven who he is over the course of the last 2 years. So I would say bad day. However, with Lamar Jackson and what they did, that's a good day. And I think that goes to the narrative we're speaking to. I don't know if there's a dominant team in the NFL this year with who's been backups and, the guys who have been traditionally good, like the Patrick Mahomes and such, have not. So I would say Purdy had more of a bad day than showed his true colors.
Yeah, I mean, almost every team in the NFL this year has lost to a terrible team that they shouldn't have. I mean, we can
I
pick.
don't think the 49ers did that. I mean, the Ravens.
Well, they're not. No, I'm just saying at some point, almost every team in the NFL. Yes. No, I think Brock Purdy is still Brock Purdy and is still, like Andy said, proven himself. So bad day for the 49ers is all that was.
Well, and I think one of the things that we are not seeing, and going back to the Dallas Cowboys, I want to focus on them, is that the Dallas Cowboys, one of the things that we've got to start being able to do is 2 things, and it involves the same position. We've got to be able to run the football, and we've got to stop the run. To me, that's been the thing that we've had a hard time with, is stopping and getting really some productivity. We go back to, how does things change if Lemke doesn't fumble? If we don't fumble on the 1-yard line. I was at the in-laws trying to get it to work there on Christmas Eve day, right? It was Christmas Eve when they played.
Yes.
Trying to get the network worked out. That's going to be knowing half the battles. That'll be a whole other thing in a minute. So I missed that part. But how much does it change if you go up 7-0 and you've got that momentum going totally different than you fumble on the one, they go down and have a hard time scoring. But we've got to be able to run the football. And I'm going to tell you, you can't get him right now. But I think we have seen that we have missed Ezekiel Elliott for those 1-yard needs throughout the year.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, we've seen Pollard step into, that leading role, and he's had some really great games. But yeah, I do think that we are missing Zeke somewhat there. And the momentum, I feel like for the Cowboys, it's all about momentum for them specifically, the team that they are. It's like when D gets a good stop, it's like we're on fire. And then we usually end up, going down to the red zone and we actually, complete and capitalize on that opportunity. And then it's like, if we don't, it's like, oh, you can just literally see the Dallas Cowboys almost like melt on the field. And it's like, you guys, like, it's the first quarter. Like, come on. That's my struggle with the Dallas Cowboys. It's like when they get down, it's like, oh, okay. And then sometimes they wait till 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Oh, now we need to fight. We're close. Maybe we can do this. It's too late. So that's been my struggle with the Dallas Cowboys.
I will say it does have a little bit of a different feel because early in the year when they lost in Arizona and they lost in San Francisco, that was a feel I had like, what are we? Here we go again. Here we go again. With that said, even this past week, they were in it. Yeah, there were a few plays that they didn't make that they could have, but I walked away thinking, okay, we're going to be fine. And you mentioned, is the confidence still sky high? I would say, sky high, maybe a little high, but at least I walked away this past week going, okay, they played well. They didn't just absolutely, just tank it.
Yeah, for sure.
But still, there was some frustration that was left. But on the flip side of that, I think too, okay, they played okay. They still haven't won on the road, but I feel like they can at least compete on the road.
Well, and they've come close now. The Buffalo Bills game the Buffalo Bill game on the road looked like the Arizona Cardinal game and the San Francisco on the road. But then you take the other two road losses that they had most recently was the Philadelphia Eagles and this Miami Dolphins one. When I go back, and I know I bring a lot of things back to golf, I wonder when it comes to confidence, it's kind of like there's a hole out at fairway, 17. You got to hit a drive over the water. And if you've not hit it over the last 4 times, you start doubting yourself when you get on the tee. All right, just get dry. Just get dry. I don't care if I've got a 300-yard second shot, just be dry. And I wonder what the confidence is and what the mindset is when you go into a road game for the Cowboys. Because again, yes, they're professionals. Yes, they make a lot of money, but they're still human. For example, the Detroit Pistons, I guarantee it, when they went to the locker room last night up, they're like, hey, maybe this is it. Maybe we can maybe we can stop being the lead on SportsCenter every night by just winning one game. And then they end up losing again. Are the Cowboys, what's their mindset? Because we've seen it at home. When the people come to the AT&T, it's a different Cowboys team. It's a different atmosphere. I mean, used to, they weren't that great there. Now they're good at home. And so I wonder what their mindset is when they go on the road. Because next week, it's going to be one of those Washington, you can throw the record books out because Washington's got nothing to play for from a playoffs perspective. But every one of those players are trying to make sure they make a statement for probably the new coach. And so next week is still going to be, even though it's not a winning record road game, it's going to be a divisional road game that could, depending on what happens this weekend, could matter for where do we fit. And so and going back to the Dallas Cowboys part, as far as sky's the limit, I think because everything's falling into place. Brock Purdy, we'll see this Sunday. Is there any doubt in how he feels after last week's 4 interceptions? I mean, you got benched for Sam Darnold, and Sam Darnold, they still had a chance last week, and he gets benched. And of course, the Ravens had winning. So they opened the door. The Ravens opened that door for the 49ers and the Cowboys to say, now we're a little closer. And the Cowboys did take care of business against the Dolphins. So I still think in the Eagles, they're banged up. They were number 1 in defense last year. They're at the bottom of defense this year. But they're still finding ways to win, even in games that they shouldn't, except for the 3-game losing streak. But my point is, I think the Dallas Cowboys still very open and very opportunity to still make the run, to maybe have that. The Super Bowl is still a possibility.
Oh, I agree. And I think from a personnel standpoint, this is the most confident I've felt from a personnel standpoint for the Cowboys. Are they winning on the road? No, they're not. But I have confidence that they could. We shall see. And they're going to have to. And maybe that's the conversation in the locker room over the course of the next 2-3 weeks leading into the playoffs is, hey, boys, we're going to have to win on the road. It looks like, let's just go ahead and start having the psychologists come in and say, what do we have to do to win on the road?
Yes.
Let's start the conversation now, because that's what it looks like January is going to be, is away from Jerry World. But I think the personnel's in place now. Can they do it on the field?
No, completely agree. I can stay. You know, this is kind of obviously January football. This is when you see injuries and really take over teams, and complete teams can change due to injuries. And so I'm just like, please let, you know, our guys stay healthy, or healthy enough to, you know, get us through the season. I don't know, the D's seemed a little sloppy to me. It's like we camp up. It's like all of these missed tackles. I'm like, well, in the beginning of the season, obviously our schedule is harder now, but it's like, you know, it was all about the Dallas D. And now it's just the last couple of games there, it just hasn't felt completely dominant. And so it's like, are they getting tired? Is it just because our schedule is harder? We were in that gauntlet. What is the difference there? Because in my opinion, I don't know what y'all think, but it just hasn't been completely dominant in the last couple of games.
Well, and outside the Philadelphia Eagles, who we pretty much took care of very handily, this will be the hardest, not only because it's the next one, but the Detroit Lions are very loaded offensively.
Right.
Swift, Antonio Brown, Laporta. I mean, you're going to have to play well. All right, so now I want to add this new segment, chance or no chance. I'm going to give you a couple of questions and tell me if there's a chance it's going to happen or no chance. Matthew Stafford is already a Hall of Famer.
Ooh, I say chance. He's got a Super Bowl in his back pocket. I'll say yes. I can see that happening.
Yeah, I'm going to go chance on him.
I agree. I think he doesn't have to do much more. He's been great, and I agree he has a Super Bowl champion around his way. Purdy is still in the MVP hunt.
Ooh, yeah, I'll say chance on that too, because I don't know if there's that one guy that sticks out. Yeah, Purdy had a bad game, and maybe this week's not the week to talk about it, but I'll still say chance on that.
I'm going to go no chance. I think there's just too many other greats right now to compete with him, and I think there is going to be somebody that can come in on top of him.
Y'all didn't hear, but what you're talking about, Willis, I agree with that. I think what happened is when he did that, it opened the door for a chance
Right.
for Christian McCaffrey or maybe Tyreek Hill to get into that.
I wouldn't be surprised if
because
Purdy, but no
week,
chance right
this week
now.
You've got the Ravens and you've got the Dolphins playing each other. I don't think Tua is the MVP. I think the MVP of that is Tyreek Hill. But if Miami were to beat Baltimore and drop Lamar, I think you might even see those two, Christian McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, jump up in there and don't take out Dak. The Browns are a legit Super Bowl contender. Misty.
No chance.
No chance.
It's not even a question.
I disagree.
What are you talking about, Willis?
I think chance, and this is the reason why. They've got it. The guy's playing unbelievably well. You've got a great defense. And because of what we said earlier, it's nobody's dominating. If Joe Flacco can just go and continue to not, I mean, yes, he could. But I think there's a confidence level. We talked about that earlier. With the Browns, I think there is a chance because there is no dominating team right now. They clinched the playoffs last night. The dog pound is excited. I think the Browns have a chance.
The trend line is going in the right direction, but don't make me watch the Cleveland.
Yeah,
Browns.
no
Don't get me
chance.
wrong, nobody wants to see
No
that either.
chance.
A couple more. McCarthy will be back in 2024.
Chance. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Yeah, I'm going to say chance. I'm like at least another year.
All right, this will probably help answer that. The Dallas will be one and done in the playoffs.
I'm going to say no chance.
No chance you think they're going to keep going though?
Yeah, I think they'll at least win the first game of the playoffs.
Are you willing to bet a spoonful of black-eyed peas?
Oh, that was tough.
I'm going to say chance. I mean, I think the personnel's there in place, but tradition will say that it doesn't last long.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against tradition this year. So
here's why I think there's a chance that they are one and done. Is somebody that's being very Joe Flacco-ish, but younger, is Baker Mayfield.
yeah,
And
Baker is
Mayfield-
always a
and
loose
Baker-
cannon.
Baker Mayfield right now is playing well with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. The Virginia White guy is playing well. So I think there is a chance on that. We got a couple more. We'll do those when we come back right after this.
That's what your touchstone energy cooperative makes.
Yeah, I like this segment that you threw in. The chance or no chance is fun. Yeah. I like
Well,
it.
and I think when we come back and we can transition into
We just got to get those other,
We can do the knowings after battle out of that, and we can end with those.
yeah, like the story of the year,
years.
surprise of the year. Yeah.
Because the other thing that,
So are we heavy or are we good? What, 2 more segments or 3?
we've got a total, we've got one, we have 2 in the shorts.
Okay.
Yeah. So really just 2, because the last one will just be like, what are y'all doing for the new year? You know, yeah, it's just a couple minutes.
Gotcha.
So really just 2. Okay, so we'll finish up chance or no chance, and then you're going straight into knowing is half the battle, and then we'll end with the rest of the
And I'm gonna
categories. I'm like, what's the word?
The Russell Wilson thing, who's the problem there? They benched him anyway. I don't know, it just.
Well, what did I read about? He had to start so many games to get a bonus. So
He's guaranteed $39 million. But if he fails a physical or does something, there's an extra $37 million.
But something about like if he doesn't start every game, he misses out on bonus or something. Is that right? Something.
Maybe.
Because they were saying.
I can't decide if Ja Morant should be my knowing is half the battle. You see, he did another gun celebration.
Oh yeah.
You enjoy the Potosi Live experience? If not, you're missing one of the best.
So what's your son doing this year?
He goes to Angelo State,
Oh, nice.
and he works at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Hey, okay.
So yeah, he just got a job there. We told him that we'd give him, you know, we're like, you don't have to work the first semester. Let's
Yeah.
kind of ease into your freshman year. But as it was getting closer to the holidays, I'm like, okay, like we need to get serious. You need to get a part-time job. And so he got hired at Buffalo Wild Wings, which he has a great personality. He would help out at Mulligan some over the summer, loved it. So I think that will be good for him. And the hours, obviously, they work with students. So yeah, did great in all of his classes. So far, you know, I'm like,
So how's the college parent experience been? Because I've got a senior this year, so
yeah,
I'll be there.
so we're blended. So it's a little different for us. So Ethan had lived with me up until he went to Wiley, and then right before his junior year, he actually said, hey, I think I want to move to San Angelo and live with Dad.
Okay.
And we were heartbroken and
Yeah.
like, what? Like, you're a junior? Like, what do you mean? And that was difficult. But we worked through that and we supported his decision.
Yeah.
And so he went to Lakeview and ended up graduating from there. And so his dad lives there and he has a lot of family there. So he's actually living at home with his dad for the first semester. And then he's planning to get a house or an apartment with some buddies. But I think for me, when he moved out as a junior, I kind of grieved then. That was tough. So now it's kind of just like, okay, like I'll see you when like I'm trying to just leave him, you know, be there, but not pressure. Like, come see your mom. He's done good though, coming home.
Chance or no chance as we continue rocking and rolling right here on the Hodge Pack 106.9, the Country Giant. Be sure you head over to TRRMA. I'm going to get that right. Head over to our Facebook page, Big Country Giant, and vote for Texas Regional Radio Music Awards. We've got folks, JB Cloud, Greg Austin, Station of the Year, Potosi Live for Venue Year, and Outlaws and Legends is up for Festival of the Year. Head over to that website, vote. I'd love to represent the Big Country. Again, Greg has been in the business for a long time. We continue to spin great records, great tunes along with JB. So be sure to go and vote for those guys, our station, and also go ahead and vote for Potosi Live for Venue of the Year and Outlaws and Legends, the Festival of the Year. Of course, Outlaws and Legends coming March 29th and 30th. Get your tickets. Lineup is out. Be ready to roll. And so I want to continue our chance or no chance, looking at some questions of there's a chance this is going to happen, no chance. And I'm going to throw this out. One of the things that we did not get in, again, once all headline report, Pittston's lose 28 in a row, still struggling. And the Flacco is flying. Again, he's trying to, in my opinion, still put the Browns in a chance to be a Super Bowl. According to Misty and Andy, there's no chance.
No chance.
But Russell Wilson will be a starter. He's getting benched. Jared Stidham, Stephenville Yellow Jacket, will be the starter for the Broncos this week. All of you talk about, Misty says it's all about the Benjamins. This right here is about the Benjamins. We've seen that really from the beginning, Russell Wilson and Sean Payton didn't jive real well. And ironically, Russell's had a better season this year than he has in years past, or than he did last year. But still, he's getting. It's all about money. He's guaranteed $39 million. There's some other millions involved, and so it looks like he's going to be able to. They're going to get out of that contract somehow. Denver's going to figure out a way, and Sean Payton's going to start over. Before I ask the Russell Wilson question, who's the issue? Is it Sean Payton or is it Russell?
I'm going to say Russell. I don't know. I think that you're probably a bigger Russell fan than I am. He's not been doing anything. I mean, so I'm just not on his bandwagon at all. So I think it's him.
I agree. If you win games on the field, none of this exists. If Russell wins games on the field, none of this exists. So I've got to point the finger at Russell in this deal.
Well, at what point does Sean Payton start getting some of this?
Well, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to figure out a way. You've got a Super Bowl winning quarterback. You've got a Super Bowl winning coach. And depending on who you talk to, some people thought, well, Russell was a problem in Seattle. And then you hear, no, he wasn't that big of a deal. But I think his big thing is that he's got this diva. We talked about church divas later on in our favorite Hodge Pack moments. But the diva in him that is there, I think probably one of those, and I'm not saying this because it's the easy way out. I think it's a combination.
And it could be. I mean,
think there's a combination.
Could be a clash.
There are people, there are coaches that we've seen, and I'm not going to mention his name, and I'm not going to mention the school, but I knew of a coach that got a job. It was a pretty decent coach. Did not jive with that team. Went to another school and made it to the regional tournament a couple times. And it just didn't work. I mean, we're seeing that with Sarkisian. Yes, he had some things at USC, but now he's having some success at Texas. And so I think it's a combination of both. So now with that, there's 32 teams in the league. Chance or no chance, Russell Wilson is a starting quarterback next year. And if you say chance, where?
I'm going to say chance on a crappy team. Maybe he goes to the Vikings if Cousins is out.
This is a tough one because to me, and I don't know contract-wise what follows him if he were to leave Denver. But
right.
When you start talking small market, can they even afford him?
Right.
And now he's on the backside of a career. Is he even a starting quarterback, or do you start looking at a backup type of role for him? I just think with the dynamics contractually, with where he is, I'm going to say no chance.
So no chance and chance. I think there's a couple places that would work. I think one is they're loaded talent-wise right now, and I think a very underachieving one is the Atlanta Falcons. You got Kyle Pitts, you got Dre London, and they got Bijan Robinson. There's a possibility there's going to be a new coach in Atlanta if they don't finish the year well with these last two games and Tampa Bay wins the division. So I think there's a chance. Another one that I heard this week that they thought but he would have to adjust to another Super Bowl winning coach is Pittsburgh, because is Kenny Pickett the guy in Pittsburgh? He can't stay healthy. Would Russell Wilson fit there? So I think there's a chance that he does get a spot next year, but it is no chance that he will be in Denver. No chance at all. All right, next one. Bill Belichick will be the coach of the Patriots in 2024.
Oh, I think there's always a chance on that, just because of legacy. I think his time is up in New England. But I'll say chance, just because of legacy. You know, it's so hard to say thanks, but it's time for you to go. That's got to be a hard conversation. I know it happened to guys like Tom Landry before, but I'll say a chance. A side note to that, we talk about Saban potentially retiring and Belichick maybe out the door. How fun would it be to see a talk show with Belichick and Saban? I'll just throw that out. But I'll say a chance.
Well, and I agree. Belichick was on College Game Day the day that Army Navy played.
Yeah.
And he not at one point was he the we're focusing on the Patriots.
Yeah, he had some personality.
He had some pizzazz.
He had personality. You're like, whoa, is that a Pat McAfee beef shot? Why are you so excited? Because I do agree with that. Misty, do you think?
Yeah, I think Legacy Craft's going to give him another year if he wants it. So we'll just kind of see what happens. He may be like, you know what, I'm good. He's had a rough go lately, and so it'll be interesting. But yeah, definitely a chance. I think at least another year.
So I think no chance. I think they figure out a way to part ways in a way that is acceptable. And then the question is, where does Bill Belichick go? Or if he is done in the Patriots, do you think he still coaches?
No, I think he's done. I mean, now who knows? You know, it's me. I'm riding off into the sunset. Who knows with these guys? The competitive nature of these guys is phenomenal to me. So why go somewhere else? Why try to rebuild something?
I think the only place that looks attractive is because to me, you look at right now, you've got the Raiders job open, you've got the Chargers job that is open currently right now, you've got the Panthers job that is open. To me, the job that is attractive because you've got Justin Herbert is that one, and or if we end up seeing it, is it going to be Belichick or Harbaugh for that spot? And to me, if I'm the Chargers, yes, Bill Belichick is who he is. Yes, he's won 6 Super Bowls. But I'm going to go the Harbaugh route to bring him. He's won in California. He's played in California. He's coached. He understands California. And he's had some success on the offensive side as a former quarterback. I would be leaning more toward Harbaugh than Belichick. And I think Antonio Pierce, he's got 2 more games, needs to have that job.
He solidified his for the job, no doubt.
So anyway, that's our chance or no chance for today. We'll continue that next week with Josh. Again, Misty, Hodge, and Andy Penny in this morning in our 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Coleman County State Bank. Misty, let's move back into, let's talk about, again, we're coming to the end of the year. 2023 is ending. 2024 is going to come with excitement. Of course, we're going to be celebrating 5 years on January 19th here at the mall. We'll be telling you more about that, how you can come and hang out and be a part of that day. But 2023 has been fun. We've moved stations, moved locations. So let's look at some of those things that we talked about this year. We've already told our pro player team of the year, obviously, was the Texas Rangers. We differed a little bit. Andy went with Albany on local player team of the year. You went with Hermley. I went with a combination of the Rugby Lady Lions and what Westbrook and Benjamin have done this year. So move on to the next one. Where would you like to start?
Let's do surprise of the year. So I'll lead off with this one. So my surprise of the year is Aubrey is a perfect kicker. The story of, and obviously I'm going, NFL, not necessarily at the local level, but for me, local, they're just right up the road, the Dallas Cowboys. But what Aubrey has done and where he's come from and then straight into the NFL and been literally up to this point perfect. How do you compete with that? Like, it's an absolute amazing story. There's so many great storylines of this year. But that's my surprise of the year is how great and perfect our kicker has been for the Dallas Cowboys.
I would agree with that. He's been a pretty good weapon. Ironically, he's missed extra points this year, but not field goals. It's almost like, hey, can we get a couple of penalties and move this extra point back?
Yeah.
But Aubrey being a kicker, big weapon. I think playing soccer probably helps weather-wise. If he has to, if it is cold in Philadelphia, or if you get one of those muddy, soggy type days in Santa Clara down the road, so very possible there. So your surprise of the year, Aubrey.
Yeah, just being so great.
I'm shooting from the hip here. My surprise of the year, and maybe some weren't. Florida State not making the college football playoff.
Ryan will be all over that one with you.
How an undefeated doesn't. Sorry, Coach Bacon over at Abilene Cooper. I know I just got the blood boiling again, but how Florida State doesn't make the college football playoff was a surprise.
Well, and I think it is too, because if you tell me you want the best 4 teams, then Georgia still needs to be in it.
Yep.
And I've said this over and over, If that is what you want, the 4 best teams in the country, Georgia should have been in because they go 29 in a row, win back-to-back state national championships, and then you lose to who maybe, according to what Misty, she thinks Texas, but Alabama, one of the hottest teams in the country, on one game, a close game, you should be in that college football playoff, which again, Ford was the dumbest thing ever of all time.
Well, we're about to see what FSU is made of, because if Georgia does not throttle them, then everybody's going to be like, see, they should have made it. They should have made it. But if Georgia comes out and they TCU Georgia this and it's 65-7, then everybody's going to be like, see, that's why exactly. Right. So this game, I'm so excited to watch this game to see, because I personally think Georgia is going to throttle them and it's going to be TCU all over again. I hope I'm wrong. I love the story of FSU. I just don't think that they were the best, unfortunately, schedule. There's a lot of things that go into that. But I do agree with you that Georgia, and I said it before, they deserve to be in the top 4.
But the problem with I get the national, that whole thought of the Florida State having a chance. Rodemaker is gone. So he was the backup quarterback that had a concussion. So he's not playing. So it is the 3rd string quarterback that they said would not have been. So I agree and I disagree. The reason I disagree is if Rodemaker would have been playing, now you're backup, I think you're full healthy. Now you got a 3rd string guy that's coming in. Hopefully he plays well, but how many people from Georgia and how many people from Florida State may not play?
Right. We just don't know.
Right.
If it was a true matchup, like everybody was healthy, then I would love to see that game, see what happens. And I'd love for FSU to come in and upset them. I just don't see it.
And that's the unfortunate narrative of college football.
Absolutely.
Now is guys opting out for NFL,
right,
portal, whatever.
We're not getting it.
It's the load management that we see in the NBA.
Correct.
When we come back, Hodge will give his surprise, and we'll keep going through our surprises and fun of 2023.
Yeah, that really is the unfortunate aspect of it, because we're not going to get to see a true Georgia team and a true FSU team battling it out.
Now, I'm going to tell you, Billy, he could stop the day. Belichick's already in the Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, which almost makes you wonder, like, babe, just hang it up. It's okay. It's like Saban. You don't have anything else to, like, you have nothing else to prove. You're good.
Well, but I think some of those guys still is no different than the people that retire from the co-op or retire from teaching or retire.
I would just want to end on a bang.
Well, no,
That's
I think they don't. I think for a lot of them, what's that life going to be like? Yes, Saban could have tea times for life, go straight to a set at ESPN.
Yeah.
But it's still, how does that?
My only thought with Belichick is if he leaves and wins the Super Bowl, does he feel the need to go prove himself?
Yes.
I think there's a part of that. I think he feels like he's got to go show. And even if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, can I get to a level where the AFC Championship or the championship game, wherever conference he goes to, is something that we play for still?
Yeah.
Because right now we're scrapping to just get in the playoffs, and now we're scrapping for wins.
Yeah.
And when your quarterback's Bailey Zappi,
what are they, 4-11?
Yeah. Text and ask Josh if he's got the foot deer.
4-11. Worst record in the AFC.
Oof.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle for you, there's no better place than Lawrence Hall and Abilene. For over 34 years, Lawrence Hall and Abilene has been the place to find the best in Chevrolet, Buick, and GMC. That is still true today.
Okay, so can I have a pen real quick? I'm going to mark out what we've done so that I know. So we've done this one, we've done pro, we've done surprise. So we need play of the year, story of the year. I think we already pretty much went over player of the year. We went with Seeger and then we talked about Adam Hill. So I think we're good there.
I can't think of play of the year off the top.
And then college team of the year.
I
So
mean, play of the year, I think, was the game time bomb of Seeger for me.
yeah, play of the year, college team, and story. So, or the ones.
And we can do.
Here in Abilene, folks have lots of options for eating out. Large, giant
Yeah, and then, yeah, story, play of the year, college team of the year are the three left. Oh, man.
College team of the year, I think it'd be hard to not think about the Oklahoma softball national champions.
Or yeah, you can pick that one and we can just keep it rolling.
One of mine, I think, player of the year was Caitlin Clark, and how they pretty much put college girls basketball on the map. And people were watching that semifinal game.
Oh yeah, that was insane. She's a beast. Oof. Boy, Reese has been all over in the news lately.
Is she playing again yet?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't remember how long she was out, but yeah, I'm like,
Where does your story start? Where do you want to go? Whether starting a business, saving for the future, or launching your ideas to the next level, we want to help you take your first steps towards something big. Call or email one of our bankers. Bank and Trust. We see potential, ideas, innovation, growth everywhere.
Rocking and rolling on the Hodge Pack. Last show of 2023. We're glad that you're with us this morning. Again, Misty and Hodge, along with Andy Penny in our Potosi Live studio. Again, we're brought to you by Live Atlantic Cattle. Head over to Live Atlantic Cattle, get you a Hodge Pack this weekend. Great stuff, great food. Go check out Daniel and the folks over there at Live Atlantic Cattle. We're continuing on our fun look back at 2023. And I mentioned earlier about voting for the TR, Texas Regional Radio Music Awards, round 2 of voting. Again, head over to trrma.net. Vote for Radio Station of the Year, KLGD. Personality of the Year, Greg Austin, which you can hear him a little bit later on at 2 o'clock today with the Texas Two-Step. And, of course, the syndicated and specialty program, Red Dirt Proud with JB Cloud. Both of those, JB, will be coming in at 10 o'clock. Of course, Jones in the morning. Had our final A&M game the other night. Shout out to JR that helps the football happen on the radio again. The Dallas Cowboys tomorrow take on the Detroit Lions tomorrow night. So we're talking about surprise of the year, and my surprise of the year that kind of was ironically, I drove by there's firecracker stands open this week because of, I guess, people lighting New Year's.
Yep.
But one of the firecrackers that went up, it made a lot of good little noise, and then faded away like firecrackers do, was week 1 of the college football season when Deion Sanders showed up to TCU along with the Colorado Buffaloes, all the talk, all the hype of Prime, and how they started off and they upset TCU. And at the moment, we didn't know what TCU was going to be, coming off of last year's national championship game where they got throttled by Georgia. We didn't know how good or what that kind of win was. But over the first few weeks of college football season, the team of the year didn't finish the team of the year, but Deion Sanders, what to me was the story of what, for a moment, College Game Day went to Boulder. The Rock went to Boulder. People were looking at Deion Sanders. Celebrities were showing up to games like it was the Lakers were coming to Boulder. I mean, you had Will Ferrell. You had celebrities coming to watch Deion in Colorado play. And then they kind of faded away, and they never really did anybody good. But what Deion was doing, and Kobe mentioned that the day that he was here, about how he's trying to change. And now you see some people leave, and you see coaches leave. He's brought in Sapp, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers Super Bowl champion and Hall of Famer, to be on his coaching staff. To me, it's hard to say that one of the stories of 2023 is what Deion did. Both sides of that story in Colorado.
And if college football needed a springboard or a shot in the arm to get the football season started, holy cow. You talk about the script of the NFL being written before it's written. Man, how about that for college football? You get Deion Sanders coming in. You immediately beat TCU, the national finalist. Then you beat Nebraska, your old Big 8 rival. And then you beat Colorado State rival. All eyes were on college football to start the year. Yeah, they faded, but man, what a way to start the year.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. So was that your surprise of the year or story of the year?
I think that was a little
or
bit.
Both.
I think it was a little bit of both. But again, I've said throughout the year, the most important year for Deion, because here's the thing, they won one game the year before. And 4-6 for other people would be a huge improvement. not only was the improvement on win and loss, but also the improvement of people knowing that Boulder still existed when it came to college football. But to me, year 2 is going to be the one. Does the progress keep growing? Does the success continue? Do they build off of 4 and 6? That to me.
And now the Big 12.
And now they've got to go into a Big 12
Yeah.
conference that I think is going to be tougher than people think. All eyes are going to be on the Big 10 and the SEC because they always are. But I do think it's going to be a big win. Story and surprise of the year combination of both.
Okay, because my story of the year, you can have a good story, feel good story, and you can have a bad story. My story of the year goes to the Jets and how all this hype surrounded the Jets, and with Aaron Rodgers coming on, and he's going to lead them to the Super Bowl, and then my prediction comes true. He gets injured in the first game, half a snap or whatever it was.
4 plays.
4 plays. I hate that I put that bad juju on you, Aaron. I didn't mean to, but I was right. So my story of the year is actually the letdown in the fall of the Jets when Aaron Rodgers got injured.
That's well played, Missy. I like that one. That's a good one. Mine was short-lived. We talked about in the break that it was actually mine. Very short-lived, but it had my full attention for that weekend. Was the battle between Caitlin Clark at the University of Iowa and Angel Reese at LSU in the Final Four in the women's college basketball. Perfect sports story of good versus evil, or villain versus hero. I think Clark was tabbed the hero and Reese was the villain. I don't know that on the personal level or past that weekend. I don't know, but it just had my attention for that full weekend.
Well, it had a lot of people because the eyes, I can't remember what was going on that weekend, but we talked about TV ratings, about how the TV ratings for the NFL dominated all of the NBA Christmas days.
Mm-hmm.
Because for the longest time, Christmas was about the NBA. And really, it's kind of like nobody starts paying attention to baseball till after the All-Star break or till September and all that. Most people didn't pay attention to the NBA until Christmas Day. Well, now the way days move, Christmas landed on Sundays and all that. And then Christmas started welcoming football. And the NFL did that as well. But there was something on that weekend that it took more attention, was on the women's game. And I'll give a shout out to ESPN. They've done a really good job over the last couple of years, whether it's been women's basketball and softball, of bringing that attention to. And so that weekend, people were watching Bird Magic at the women's level of watching LSU. And the story of that is to what Kim Mulkey had done. She basically Deion Sanders in that there was 3 teams. I think there was only 3 players on that national championship team that were there, and she brought on all the new. And then Kim Mulkey, who won at Baylor, went and done what we were talking about Belichick doing and what Nick Saban's done. Won it at LSU, at Alabama, and she's done that as well. Now this year, the new part of 23 rolling into 24 has been the controversy of Angel Reese at the beginning of the year being suspended and being off the field or off the court. But again, Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, definitely a huge story for the year. Another story I think that's taken over, and it was almost about the time that, and I think you can't talk about 2023 without this, is when Deion and them started not doing very good, Taylor Swift came on the scene. And you cannot talk about the NFL without the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce thing, because let's face it, Brittany Mahomes is now getting shown in the press box or in the suite because Taylor's there.
Oh, absolutely.
And to me, the eyes of Texas are upon you. The eyes of the NFL were definitely on Taylor Swift and the Travis Kelce side.
I have to admit, I'm a Swiftie. I mean, we're only a couple of years apart. I grew up listening to her. I never idolized her or anything, but I like Taylor. My daughter's a Swiftie. She's about to be, 11 in a couple months. So we're kind of right in that Swiftie era, if you will. So I'm here for it. Although I'm like, love you, Tay-Tay, but can we watch football? I'm over it in terms of we don't care that you're at the game. Good job, you're supporting your man like a good girlfriend should. That's great for you. We don't need to see it every time. And so I'm over that narrative. I just want to see Kelce. And Kelce, come on, they've been throwing a lot more to Watson lately. It's like, okay, let's get back to doing Kelce things.
Well, and that's the other thing is how many people really start thinking. We talked about on the road with the Cowboys, at home with the Cowboys. is Taylor going to be there? Hey, somebody get Taylor back from her world tour
Yes.
so that the Chiefs can start playing well.
Yes.
That was the psyche that was going on in people's minds because of football, because not football, but sports in general. We get a little goofy when it comes to our teams.
Oh, yeah.
We get a little irrational. We get a little, whatever you want to call it, when it comes to our team, whether it's our college team, our pro team, we get a little bit. That's why you see people filming and somebody punching a TV because their team loses, or they sit on the same couch. I cannot move because we started winning when I sat here. People start thinking that way, and there were people that thought if Taylor wasn't in the building, it was going to be a rough night.
I think when Taylor's been in the building, it's been rough.
Yeah, we need you to go back on tour.
Well, and that's,
He needs to focus on football.
Exactly.
he literally needs to shake it off. But so, Misty, what about? Do you have? What are the other things we got?
Play of the year. So for me, I've got to go with Bland when he sets the NFL record on the 6th time for the pick six. So it's Bland for me for the play. That specific 6th, the one that set the record, is the play for me of the year.
Good call. Seager's home run in Game 1 of the World Series has to be it for me.
Yeah, Seager. I think just it's not a play, but I think the way the Rangers won the World Series 9-0, knowing very similarly, ironically, that's what the Herman Cardinals won the state championship, was 9-0, and knowing that it was happening, and knowing that don't get me wrong, there's always comebacks. I mean, the Buffalo Bills came back against the Houston Oilers, and Frank Reich is now known for that. But you just knew that it was happening, and it was about to be a World Series, and you just waited for that third out. But again, the game time home run he had when they went into extra innings was another huge home run or play for me for the Rangers as far as play of the year. What about what do we got left? We got player of the year. We got that
College team of the year.
You can't give it to the. This sounds a stretch, but I still can't give it to the Colorado Buffaloes because they didn't do really much. But what Georgia did, winning back-to-back, I know it kind of rolled in.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia doing that was pretty impressive, but I think I will go with the OU softball team. Domination, winning it again. I would give it to the Oklahoma Center softball team.
Yeah, I think I have to agree with you there. Obviously, I played softball in high school, and my daughter plays softball, so softball has my heart. I love that they've kind of put it on the map. Because everybody was watching that, that series. And so that's exciting. Same thing with women's basketball. I've said it before. I'm a woman. I feel like I can say this. People don't really care about women's sports. It is what it is, but I think it's getting better. And so as a female, that's exciting for me, and as a mom of an athlete. And so it's just been fun to watch because I played basketball and softball. So for both of those times was just really special this last year.
Yeah, I'll triple stamp that. That was fun to watch. Super softball.
Well, and I just think when you start looking back at what that meant for, again, I just go back to the people watching it was huge. And so, what about moment of the year from just looking back on this year? Of course, Andy, I think the last time you came on as co-host, we were in the old studio.
That's correct. Yeah.
Just looking back, I know Josh, he hadn't texted back, so maybe he's still getting that beard. But the year that we've had, moments, thoughts of 2023. And again, I know Andy listens some. Of course, school is sometimes hard. We'll go with you first. Like just this year, you've seen we've done some football together. I said Wiley, but this year, your thoughts of your year back on the Hodge Pack.
Okay, well, a moment of the year on the Hodge Pack or in general?
All of that.
Okay, well, for me, I'm going to go the personal, so give me a little sentimental moment. My son, Drew, is a senior at Wiley this year. I've been calling high school football games for a long time, but to call my son's senior year of football for the Wiley Bulldogs was pretty impressive. I didn't choke up too bad, lost in the playoffs on the year.
No, well, we knew we had an uphill battle playing Argyle that night, but again, that was pretty cool getting to see that moment throughout the year, the goalpost hugs and all that.
Yeah, it was fun stuff.
With good stuff. Misty, what do you?
It's so hard to pick just one. I think, every year I think we just get better and better. Our banter, our camaraderie, I've just really enjoyed you know, I'm sure I could listen back to those first few episodes and cringe. I just feel like, you know, the more you do something, you get better and better, and just love doing this with you and Josh, and just our banter and just the laughs. And like, obviously last week when y'all did the jingle, when I asked you to do the jingle and y'all nailed it, and we're singing, and Josh bust out Whitney Houston when I asked him to do an American Idol audition, and Fuzzy Wuzzy, and what emblems on your belly if you're a Care Bear. I mean, we've just had so many funny, weird conversations on this show, and great. We've got fired up, we've disagreed, but we still come back together, and we're just super close, and we're the three amigos. And I just love it. I love doing the show. I love talking sports. I just love everything about it.
Well, and again, I appreciate the year. We've had a lot of knowings at the battles. We've had some great guests from our Big Country Electric My Town segment. I still get giddy that, you know, people like Mike Greenberg and Marty Smith and Jason Fitz and folks have been on this show. And you watch.
And Herbstreit. I mean, yeah, we've had some incredible.
You watch Thursday Night Football on Prime and know
guests.
that Kirk Herbstreit has been on your show and on the show. So, but it's been a lot of fun. And hey, 2024 is a year we're looking forward to. A lot of great things. Again, we're downtown. We're no longer downtown. We're down at the mall. Come hang out. Check us out. We'll have a big show coming up January 19th. You'll learn more about it. Get ready for JB Cloud at 10 o'clock. Andy, appreciate you coming in this morning.
You bet. Kudos to you guys. Have a great 2023.
Misty, appreciate it. Josh, I hope you got the big monster. We'll see you next week for the first show of 2024 right here on the Hodge Pack 106.9. The Country Giant.
Bam.
There it is. Good
Great
stuff,
show, y'all. That was a